What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Tales, Ales, and Trails. I'm your host, Nick. We've got a fantastic episode for you today. We're talking to Brian Kennedy. He's also known as BKXC on social, especially on YouTube. He's a world-traveling mountain biker. He's someone that I really admire personally. He's found a way to do what he loves for a living. I really think that's the dream for most folks, and he's found a way to achieve that, which is really awesome. He was super gracious to us. He let us come out to Everstoke, which is his property that he shares with his business partner, where they built a ton of trails. We got to have a really awesome discussion with him. We also got to ride some trails. Really just a fantastic time. Super nice of him to let us come out. Just really grateful for that. So please enjoy this episode. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think about it. You know, we're always trying to get better. We're really liking the way things are moving with Tales, Ales, and Trails. So, you know, your feedback is really a part of how we get better. So without further ado, please enjoy this episode with Brian Kennedy, BKXC. Thanks so much for having me. It's beautiful out here.
Thank you. I'm glad you get to see it. It's awesome when people have watched the videos and then to actually come out and see it, and especially get out on the trails and you see how big everything is out here. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I was fanboying a little bit coming out here, but it's been really cool to see it, to experience it. The weather's been nice.
Yeah,
that's been really good.
Yeah.
So looking really excited about that.
Cool.
Kind of where I wanted to kind of ground our conversation. You know, part of the reason why I'm so interested in talking to people like you is because there's a real passion, and it comes out in pretty much everything you put out. A passion for what you do, a passion for the outdoors. I kind of want to start with kind of exploring the origins of that, about kind of where you think that love, and I think it purely starts with the love of the outdoors. Where do you think that kind of came from?
Yeah, for me, when I was a kid, I was way more about like playing video games and being inside and stuff. But I had my uncle Dennis, who was like, loved the outdoors, and like he would do abalone diving and mountain biking and just anything, camping, road trips, all kinds of stuff in the outdoors. So I always liked spending time with him. So it was like a gateway drug of like, I wanted to spend more time with my Uncle Dennis. And that was one of the ways, go out and mountain bike. You know, out of college, I would work this like crazy shifts in a newspaper where I would work like 4 p.m. to midnight, get home, try to go to sleep 1 a.m. But then my Uncle Dennis, like Saturday morning, like, hey, you want to go for a ride? Like, we'll get up at 6:30, meet at the house. So it's like, get up early just to go out on a ride with him because it's so awesome. And you get your day started. And
Sure.
You're like, okay, I didn't need that sleep.
That's awesome. Was it mountain biking like from the start? Because I guess my secondary question is why mountain biking specifically? I know, you know, like you said, your uncle and all that, but I guess it could have been trail running. It could have been rock climbing. What about mountain biking kind of drew you to it?
Yeah, it really was my uncle for sure. And that
Sure.
was like the first like gateway again of, he wasn't really like a technical
Sure.
mountain biker. It was a lot of like fire roads and a lot of like fitness stuff, like, oh, let's ride up Mount Diablo and
Right.
like that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then a couple years later, my brother started researching into it and realizing, oh man, San Francisco Bay Area has a ton of different trails. And you're like, oh man, these like climbing and descending, it's a natural interval. So you're kind of always this like best way to work out.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh man, like there's all these things. So he started looking into mountain biking when I had already kind of done a little bit.
Sure.
And it was like, oh, okay, I want to ride with him. And he got a bike, I got a bike, and we rode every weekend for 5 years, 6 years, did trips and stuff. And we just slowly progressed together, like riding together.
Yeah. I mean, that's got to be a really awesome connection to have with someone like your brother to kind of you know, figure it out together, figure this sport out together.
And to have a routine, like when you're a kid, you always have like your neighbor friends,
Sure.
and like, oh, you hang out, you call them up on the phone, you knock on the door, hey, do you want to go out and play? But as you get to be an adult, as you know, it's like all that stuff just like trickles away. Oh, you moved for this, you got a job here, and they got this. But like we were able to come together like every week and just have it on the calendar, standing date, you know, like boom, we're always going out Saturday, we're always writing, oh, let's go to Moab, oh, let's go here. So it was very, very cool for our relationship and like just getting out to go enjoy the outdoors.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to ask you about the first video? And not necessarily the video itself, but the motivation, the inspiration. What made you say, hey, I'm going to start putting content out there, or really just throwing videos up on YouTube? Like, take me through kind of that progression.
So it started when I worked for the newspaper. So I edited videos. I don't know how much I shot. I did shoot some videos. We actually did some live streams of like Friday night high school football and stuff like that. So I figured out live streaming. We had to get a laptop, all that stuff. And back then, we're talking 2008, 9, 10. It was so ancient technology. Like YouTube didn't even have 16 by 9 yet. It didn't have HD, or maybe it did have HD. We had to use a different platform. So all that to say, the reporters would go out and shoot some video on those flip cameras. You know, you hold it vertically, but it shot horizontally, which is kind of a cool thing. So I would edit tons of videos. I don't know how many voiceovers or any other stuff. I think the reporters did all that, but I would get the footage, edit it into a video, and get it out for the website. So like, by the time I did my first video for YouTube, I had already had like years of experience doing that. And my first videos for YouTube were actually for a smart sprinkler controller. Or no, not even that. It was audiobook reviews.
Oh, really?
So like I had all these layers of like talking to the camera and trying it out. And the audiobook review thing was like just kind of a passion. I loved audiobooks. I really thought they like changed my life at the time, of like mindset and all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, I think I could do a YouTube channel about this and somehow maybe make money. You know, you're always in like, if I actually did this and it turned into something, that would be awesome. So I did audiobook reviews, and it was like just something. It got a couple views, and then I figured out more about niche like things. And like, oh, if you're talking about something on YouTube, you want to have like an affiliate link and sell something and you get a cut. So I found something that I was also passionate about, is like my yard, my lawn, my plants, and that there was these smart sprinkler controllers that worked on Wi-Fi. Like Ratio is one of the name brands. But back then it was just starting out, and there was no websites talking about it. There were very, very few YouTube videos talking about it. So I found this little niche of things that I was really interested in. So I'm like, I could do like a smart sprinkler controller. So it's called the Wi-Fi Garden. So if you still Google it to this day, it like comes up. And I actually like lost the password or something to the account and the email. I wouldn't mind like getting back into that and like doing some Wi-Fi videos. So
I like it.
From there, I was doing those, and it was still talking to the camera, feeling awkward, and editing, and like buying all the smart sprinkler controllers and doing a review, and then sending emails to the other companies, say, hey, this is my channel, like do it. And what was crazy, these units were like $300. So every unit I sold through an affiliate link was like $12. So it's actually was a legit thing. It's still very niche and like maybe became something. But then from there, I'm like, okay, I've got the bones of what I'm doing. And then I saw Nate Hills with his gimbal and GoPro. And it's like, oh, all I wanted to do was create some kind of business where I could go out and mountain bike and go on mountain bike vacations, and then on the side, like do this little side hustle. When I was like, oh crap, you could actually talk. One of the most revolutionary things for me was Nate Hills doesn't talk that much, but the first video I saw was one of his buddies wearing it and chasing Nate Hills. And the first thing he says is like, chasing Mr. Hills. And it was crystal clear. That was like the whole revelation for me personally, because we all know the GoPros were so shaky. They were covered with the waterproof housing. So it would be like, you're going down the trail. You couldn't talk. And so I was watching different car review videos at the time, Jay Leno, The Smoking Tire, and they would drive and talk. And it was like all these things coming together in that moment of like, already tried YouTube. I kind of have the concept. What I didn't know is like, if I could actually talk on the trail and describe what I'm feeling and have these like one-sided conversations with the audience where I'm just kind of talking. And that was kind of everything boiled into like all these layers of trying it and it working and people liking it. I go back and watch those videos. Like my talking is actually like fantastic from the beginning, but the video quality and how zoomed in it is and the watchability of it is like, but even from the beginning, for how much I talk in my head or whatever, it's like I was able to talk and like put a story together while I'm on the trail, which I think that's what it was. That was the magic.
I'm so glad you went there, because that was, I have it written down. I'm not sure if you're going to agree with this phrase or not, but I have it as slice of life mountain biking.
Because
I think what draws a lot of people in initially to the stuff you make is it seems so conversational. It seems so accessible. It seems you're really getting, first person perspective on kind of how you're thinking about going through trails. You're it's a running dialogue, and I think a lot of people gravitate towards that. And it seems like it was intentional from the start. And I think that's such a fascinating, and a lot of people have emulated that now, but I think that's such a fascinating part of what you do. It's not always about the trails themselves. It's a lot of people tune in to hear from you, to hear from your perspective.
And I'm so surprised about that too, that like I could touch on random other thoughts in my head and it's just as successful. Every once in a while there's still people that like come in 9 years later and be like, why does this guy talk so much? And it's like, that's kind of the whole thing, is the talking and the experience. And you could go out there and ride some trail and do it silently, and those trails are out there, I think. Yeah. But yeah, it's a funny thing of like, I never knew that like that would be that interesting, and it is.
Yeah. Can you take me through kind of the first kind of taste of success you had with this channel? When did you kind of see, oh, there is something here, there's an interest in what I'm putting out on the mountain bike front?
I think pretty quickly when I would demo bikes, like during a demo day, and go ride the bike, even though still to this day, like it's hard to talk about bikes and bike gear and the suspension and the everything. I'm still pretty clueless about that, but that there was like a feverish audience for those videos. And it's like, oh, that video got 5,000 views out of nowhere kind of thing, because people are searching for giant Trance Advance. So it's like the SEO angle was like good, but I knew that's just not, I knew it was a good searchability and like a good thing that people would find me, but I was like, I know that's just not what I'm good at. It's not my passion. The trails, finding the trails, talking about the trails is what I loved. Right. So yeah, it was like one of those things where, okay, I started in 2016, and then by like April 2016, and then by October, I'm like quitting my job. Yeah. Which is just crazy to think about. But I was putting out like 3 videos a week. I was going crazy hard while working a normal job, putting out these videos, and like, I think pretty quickly I was getting 15,000 views on every video, or something in that realm, 25,000 views, something along that lines, where it was like, okay. And everyone still thinks in subscribers, and subscribers is the most worthless number of all time. I've been stuck at like 550,000 subscribers for like 5 years now, it feels like. So it's really about the views and like how many views you get and what YouTube's paying and all that stuff, where I was like, okay. But at the time I was like, okay, if I could get 50,000 subscribers or 75,000 subscribers, you should be able to make like 75,000 bucks. Sure. Like doing the math back then, that kind of added up. And I was like, okay, even though it's more about the views, not the subscribers. And so like, okay, so why wait and do a full-time job when I had like enough money to like kind of survive and just go full-time? And it was tough because it's like almost in October, you're going into the winter. And it's like, what do you do? But I went to like New Zealand or something, Australia. Like I pulled so many trips out of my butt of like, boom, and still being able to do 3 videos a week. Just insanity. Like I think about it now and it's like, oh, I could barely put together 1 video a week because I'm working on like Everstoke stuff and all that stuff. But pretty crazy of it like kind of spinning up slowly but surely. And I don't remember like a total like light bulb moment of like, but once people started like recognizing me out in the real world,
that's got to be such a crazy
feeling. It was very
feeling.
Crazy. And like I was like going to like a Mexican restaurant with my parents, and it was probably that first year, and somebody was like on the phone, and he'd like put the phone down. I was like, hey, are you BKXC? I'm like, yeah, that's me. Like, and that like first one, like with my parents there and everything, it's like, okay, it vindicated a little bit that like it's not just some weird crazy thing.
Yeah, that's man. I didn't realize, I've been watching you for a long time. I didn't realize it was that quick of a progression from starting the channel to being like, all right, we're going full time with this. And I wanted to ask you about that specifically. I'm always fascinated when creators end up doing that, because it's so exciting. It's kind of, I think a lot of people would love to realize that dream. But there's a lot of scary characteristics and details that come along with it. What was it like taking that leap?
Man, the leap, that was the hardest thing ever, for sure. And what was amazing is at this time, Casey Neistat was doing his daily vlogs, and he would talk so much about taking the leap and like doing what you love. And like his videos 100% pushed me over the the hill for sure. Because there's a couple that I have saved where he just talks about this idea, and like he did it, and like he had a kid when he was like 16 years old, and he made all this happen. What's my excuse? Like, I'm single, I don't have a family, I can do this. So, but even with all that, there's still just that societal pressure, whatever you think someone's gonna think of you. Like my parents, what are my parents gonna think? Oh my God. And they're supportive for sure. They love it. They like are astounded as much as I am that it worked and it was a thing. And it just so crazy. But yeah, jumping off a cliff for sure, of like, okay, I'm gonna do it, when really you can always go get another job, you could always do something. But I just went for it, and yeah, still, like, I remember telling my boss and stuff, I'm gonna try this, and they just said like, okay, how about you take 6 weeks or whatever it was. It was like that video I made, I'm taking a leave of absence, because it was like still like, I knew I was all in, but like it kind of made it a fun story of like, oh, I'm gonna take this 6 weeks or whatever, because I'd already made the leap. I'm like, oh yeah, great, I just traveled to Spain and now I want to come back and work at the pots and pans company. But like, it was kind of a cool thing where, okay, they're gonna pay me for 6 weeks or whatever, like a paid vacation type sabbatical or whatever. And I was like, okay, I'll take that, and then go back like, okay, yep, I'm gonna leave.
No, I'm definitely doing this.
Yeah.
Oh man. You know, once you take that plunge, like we talked about, that jump into the full-time mountain biking content creator, is there immediately more pressure to what you're doing, because it becomes your livelihood? And I'm sure there's less pressure at this point after you've been doing it for so long. But did you feel that pressure? Like, I have to go out, I have to do great rides, have to make amazing content. Like, was there added pressure at that point?
The pressure, I don't think there was extra pressure, because I always took it seriously, like from the very start. So I always put pressure on myself to like have the right equipment, have backups of all the equipment, have a good laptop with all this stuff. Because I would ride with a bunch of different like YouTubers all the time, and their stuff was always blowing up. Like, they would go out on a ride and it would break, and they would not be able to get a video out of that ride. Like, the equipment failures were off the charts back in the day, for sure. And even to this day, I've probably only had like 3 or 4 videos out of 9 years, out of 500, 600 videos where I messed up and I didn't have a backup, or I crashed and I was like, screw it, like I crashed, I'm not gonna do a video, like kind of thing. Where very few, versus all my buddies I would ride with, constant, oh, batteries weren't charged, this SD card was this, oh, this is wrong, this happened. Versus I always like kind of was maniacal about my equipment and making sure like everything's good and testing, and it still bit me, but like that was the seriousness I took. And then the amazingness of almost going to any trail and it being decent. Like, there's only a couple in my head that I can still remember. There was one in Sun Valley, Idaho, that was like, oh my God, is this even gonna be a video? Like, I hated the trail. It seemed like it was too short or too long, whatever it was. I'm like, when you're not in a good mood, you're not talking, and the talking's the whole thing. And I still remember that video of like Sun Valley, Idaho. I'm like, oh my God, I need to get a video out of this. I'm doing 3 videos a week. Like, and if this isn't a video, so I'm like in my head while I'm riding, which that's only happened like once or twice, which is fantastic. It's like, just trust the process, go out, do your ride, talk, if it's short, if it's long, whatever. Like, so it's been amazing. It's still amazing to this day that like, look at a trail on a map, go out, something pops into my head, I ride, feel good, and it turns out good.
It's such a, and it's at the very base of it, it's such a simplistic concept.
It is,
but it turns into something really special, which is always awesome to see. I always think about that Portal video, and I was like, man, on top of like all the, and maybe there wasn't a lot of anxiety for you riding that trail. Watching it for me, I can barely get through it. There's so much anxiety, but I was thinking like, man, is he on top of all this thinking like, okay, are we recording, or is everything looking okay? Is everything sounding all right?
Always. Yeah, that's a constant thing. And like, if I ride with someone else and it's like kind of a wet day, like it ruins, if it's raining or if there's a lot of puddles, I'm always stopping and cleaning the lens and making sure. But that's also where the GoPro, I do leave it in the hands of the GoPro, and I do kind of slink away and just get into the ride, get into the talking, and it's been pretty good. There's still weird equipment things that happen, but I'm pretty on top of it, testing and stuff. But I will, as much as I kind of harp on GoPro because my life relies on it, it has been pretty nice that 98% of the time I can just let it do its thing and it just does it. That's why I'm always apprehensive to, oh, let's try Insta360 or DJI. I'm like, I can't do it. Like, I'm like opening myself up to a whole new other thing of reliability and the quirks and the things that happen. It's like GoPro's done me good.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yes, there you go.
So, I mean, I mentioned Portal right there, and I wanted to talk about just all like the sheer catalog of fantastic trails, amazing destinations. Like, did you ever think it would get to this point where you were, getting to experience such different cultures, such amazing scenery? I mean, it seems kind of like the dream.
It is. That was the dream for sure. So when I was working at the Pots and Pans place,
Sure.
I had a magazine, or was it, I don't know if it was an online magazine or what, but it was talking about this Spain trip, the Basque MTB guided trip, and the photos that Doug did of this trip. It's so funny how photos have almost nothing to do with the trip, but it just builds it up in your mind of like, oh man, they're through these rocks and through this stuff. And then when I was lucky enough to actually go on that trip, like in 2016, it lived up to it. Somehow the trip lived up to like what I had built up in my mind.
Right.
And it was just like, holy moly, where are there more of these trips? How could I do more of these trips? And the perfect synergy of me making the videos, which is kind of a publicity for the people who are doing the trips. That first trip that I did with Doug, I paid for it because he's like, he didn't know, like,
Sure.
but he was still willing to take me on and deal with me filming and all that stuff. And he was like, oh man, like after that first trip, like we got inquiries endlessly from those videos. Like for 10 years, people have been watching, even though I've done many different trips with Basque MTB, like he still gets inquiries from people watching the videos. And it was just such a perfect partnership of like, you've got great trails, I'm going to ride those great trails and let's show them off. Let's make videos and show it to the world.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, like I said, it sounds like the dream.
Yeah.
Is there something above all else, of the trips you've been able to do, is there something, one trip in particular, that's been the most impactful for you? Because I think about just everything you get to experience, trails notwithstanding. I mean, the people, the culture, the food, like it's got to be such a really enriching experience.
It is. It's pretty cool, like, because the Peru trip was really like head and shoulders. The riding is great because that's like, it's not easy to have the riding be great on a 10-day or 12-day trip, but the riding was great. But then we're in this totally different culture, which was just really quite crazy. How different it was and how many different little fun things that we learn about the alpacas and the llamas and the guinea pigs, like all this. There's a whole guinea pig culture where you raise guinea pigs, and when it's a birthday or a big occasion, you eat a guinea pig for that occasion, and just a million different things. Whereas Spain, beautiful, old timey, it's still kind of similar. Like the food is great, but it's still a European Western mindset or whatever. On all these different trips, it's kind of similar. And then you go to Peru and it's like, wow, that's so different. Nepal as well, definitely had the different enriching things. You get to learn more, but something about Peru that was just so different and interesting that it nailed it from top to bottom of getting the guides and learning, talking to them. And we actually had some civil unrest that we had to go through. So it was like the airport was shut down, all this different stuff that trip is like, it's very high on the list for like, wow, but it's super hard. It's like, almost everybody got sick. Like you're like, you be heavy on the hand sanitizer and like all this stuff where it's like, you go to Spain, it's going to be good. You're going to ride your heart out. You're going to have too much riding to do, and you'll still probably be decent.
Right. It's got to be, with all those potential obstacles in place, the travel of it all, all the moving parts that go into something like that.
We would pack up almost every day and then go to a new hotel. It's like going to war every time. It's like, oh my God, okay, where are we going to be here? But if you're here for like 3 days, you're like, oh, thank God, we're there for 3 days. Oh, no, boom, next place. But if you want the best riding possible, just like out here, like where you could stay here and drive an hour, but we want to go do this place. So it's 2 hours away. So we need another hotel. And some of the Basque stuff, it's really like a 3-hour drive here, but it just makes for the best possible trip because you're like, oh man, we did this one. And I'm so lucky that I got to film it all. And that you do these trips, you almost forget. But I get to go back and edit, and it's like my own little life story over the past 9 years of, oh yeah, we did that. I would have forgotten that trail if I didn't have it on video and edit it. And it's a total blessing because I've got this whole story of my life versus you go on these trips and just kind of forget. It's awesome in the moment, and then you're like, oh, now I'm back to work.
Yeah, and I feel like people have been able to kind of follow the progression of not just your riding, but your life. I mean, talking about getting to do these trips, meeting Sarah. I mean, like it's got to have been a really cool thing for your community to kind of experience the progression of your journey together. Yeah,
the whole way. It's so neat, all these little points along my life of, quitting the job, meeting Seth and Alexander, all these different friends, and the 50 State Shred, meeting Sarah, all this stuff. It's like, it's all there. It's all like, my great grandkids one day or, want to look at it, they can see it.
That is really cool. I wanted to ask you, because something about this also stuck out to me as well. It doesn't matter if you're riding Mount Huff or if you're in Peru. You have a real tendency to give credit to the trail builders, to talk about the food you're eating after, and really support local businesses and things like that. And obviously, you've been a huge proponent in terms of contributing to trail building and organizations and funds that do trail building. Why is it so important to you to show that support basically in each place you're riding, each place you visit?
It's such a huge thing. So when I first started mountain biking, and especially in Northern California, these trails have just always been there. Like, I don't know who takes care of them. There's no buy-in. It's just like the swing set down the street at your public park. Right? The city kind of probably takes care of it, and every 15 years they switch out the playground equipment for a different slide. But then you realize, oh, no, people actually build these trails and work on these trails and try to build new things. And the trails you've always had, we are so entitled. We're fully entitled, like, oh, I've never paid for a trail once. I'll never pay for a trail. I go out, and you realize, like, that's kind of the Northern California mountain biking culture. And then these other places like Quincy, Mount Huff, where there's tons of volunteers, there's donations, and like, no, we're building new stuff. We're building it for mountain bikers versus these trails have always been here. These are the trails you get. You're given these trails by the East Bay Parks District, and you're given these trails by the people who know nothing about mountain biking, and this is what you get. And sometimes it turns out to be pretty good trails like Rockville and these different places, but it's like a weird balance of like, we just take what we can get.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because now you're on that side of it, on the trail building side of it, and that's kind of the journey within the journey. We're sitting at Everstoke right now. Obviously very grateful that you had me out here. And we talked a little bit off camera about how much of a process it's been to get to this point. I know you've still got a lot of work to do, but the journey so far here has to be pretty cool for you.
It's very cool because this really was like just a dirt road 4 years ago when Aaron and I found the property and like, oh, okay, it's got this. And I would have picked a property anywhere that had like 50 acres, 90 acres, because I'm like, oh yeah, you could always build the trails as long as it has a hill. But here, right here, is like, it's so perfect. Today, I gave a couple tours to people for Everstoke, and then we went and had lunch 2 seconds away at Goomba's, the pizza place, and had a sandwich. There's a barbecue place right here. The hardware store that I'm constantly running to while I'm building the bathrooms. It's like dumb luck that this was the spot. National Forest is our boundary. We got the highway, which you might be able to hear, and then the brewing layer next door, like a brewery. It's like this perfect, just crazy set of coincidences and things that happened for this to actually be something. And Aaron, being the trail boss for the past 4 years, hand digging miles and miles and miles of these trails, getting help here and there for sure, but like, we've got our first draft of all the trails. We're gonna make all the trails way better, and it's just a pretty amazing thing how far it's come in 4 years, when you're always like, I want more, I want to do more, oh, we still got to do this. But it's like, you take a second, you're like, okay, we did pretty good.
Yeah, you step back and kind of appreciate what's been done so far.
Yeah,
definitely,
for sure.
Definitely. I feel like I got to ask you. You made the announcement a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago at this point. That you're going to be taking Everstoke private. And for me, it was jarring to see kind of the reaction to that. And I don't want to ask you about kind of the debate of it all, but I do want to ask you about, was it jarring for you to kind of experience that? And maybe what did you learn from that? Have you adjusted things?
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
It's so interesting. And I guess we kind of do have to get into the nuts and bolts
Sure.
of it, of just like, Aaron and I were just always winging it as we're going along. We're like, okay, we want to do this. We kind of have a vision, but every vision costs so much money.
Right.
So we're into this thing. We're going to build the trails. Okay, while we're having the trails, I guess we could cut some campsites and do some camping stuff and kind of get that going temporarily while we build something else or do something else. So I definitely see, to have such a crazy reaction of negativity, I think there's two different things, like the idea of like country clubbing something and like it's private and it's only private access, and that just like rubs people the wrong way. Where we're $750,000 in the hole right now, like we have to find some way to like make it work, even if it does mean 10 people versus the whole liability thing. And that's the whole thing. That's like the zoning, the permitting, the insurance of the TikTok of somebody breaking their neck, having to sue us, and then being able to just go down the laundry list of like, oh yeah, this is totally gross negligence because this is wrong, you didn't do this, you have this wrong. And we're just like, as we dug, the deeper we dug into it, the more we were like, oh man, we're lucky we didn't lose this place and all of our own assets. What little assets we have to live on the rest of our life, maybe. Like any crazy thing that happens, somebody's got to sue. If you're paralyzed, you have to sue someone, and you have to make a great case. And you actually saw someone talked about on Patreon the case of is it Hood Mountain, had mountain biking at one point. Somebody was ripping down a trail, crashed, broke his neck, became paralyzed. And the whole thing was gross negligence on, that's what the person was claiming that broke their neck. And then the ski resort mountain bike area said, no, there wasn't this there. There wasn't a sign. Like there's a million people that come down all these trails, and it had no problem. There's a waiver. Didn't matter. You're in a jury of your peers, and the lawyers will find a way to make the best case against you that they can. So the only thing, by being members only, we're trying to shield against is that everyone gets a tour. Everyone is like one with the trails. They know the trails. They've been on the trails. They work on the trails. Every feature they have familiarity with. If you're a member and you've been a member for a while, it's a lot harder case to make versus, oh, I showed up to this mountain bike park for a day, I broke my neck, and then this is gross negligence versus you're a member, you're kind of in it with us, you've worked up with us, you've been here. And that's just me thinking that that's a better, excuse. Even if a member breaks their neck, they still will have to sue. It doesn't matter if you're my best friend in the world. You need $2 million, $10 million to live the rest of your life in a wheelchair and having people take care of you. You're gonna sue me. It's nothing personal. Your insurance needs to make that money back. So that is the whole dilemma of, we're not a real crazy business like North Star or someone else. They can have all the perfect permits and insurance and then still get defeated in court. Like that Mount Hood ski area probably never made $6 million that they had to give to this guy. And they were awarded, and they're like, yep, we never made that money in a million lifetimes, so we have to shut it all down. So it's so tough. But on the other side, it's like, I guess people had the idea that it was all philanthropical, that it was a free thing and that everyone was going to get to ride, versus, yes, if I had bought this land and then you put it into a land trust, that is something where you don't have liability. Like when it's public coming onto your land with no expectation of paying for it or staying, that is a different thing versus no, we want to make money here. We want to try to actually make this a thing that is not a huge money pit. It's probably not going to happen since we are so deep in the money pit, but if we're never going to crawl out of it, then we'll still make it nice for everybody and make it a fun place, and we'll still have our core group of people, and we'll make it work some way, somehow.
Right. It's so interesting to me because you made that follow-up video. You have a vision for it. It may not be what everyone agrees with in terms of what they see it being, but I've just never seen that kind of animosity in your comments.
Yes, for sure.
So it was just a very interesting thing to see third hand. So I was just curious how you thought about it firsthand.
And the most brutal part of it is I said this in the comments, and people thought it was so derogatory and horrible, but I was like, yeah, if we were more rich, we could be more inclusive.
Right.
Like you literally can have all your ducks in a row if you're, boom, deed the land to the national forest and it's a park, or maybe the county, it's a county park, and you could set up like a, what does Harvard have? An endowment.
Yeah,
you could set up an endowment to have trail builders and have this whole thing. We're just two guys. We're totally just two guys bootlegging or bootstrapping this, just shoestring budget little by little. Maybe a terrible idea, but we've gotten so far. I love it. It's an amazing place. I don't want it to be taken away. I don't want my entire life savings, my meager life savings, to be wiped away in some lawsuit, you know? So it was tough. And the comments were definitely tough. Like I talked about that in the response video where like, at first I was like, okay, I got through them, and then I wanted to make the response. So I went back through them, and it was just like, it's so funny how it shouldn't mess with you at this time, 9 years later. How could a negative comment mess with you? But it still does, because you still want to believe that these are reasonable people that have an opinion. But literally, I was thinking about it today. Those people that like made the most comments that impacted me, they probably never thought about that comment again after hitting send, where I have thought about it every day since then. I was also, I don't know if you heard about this, there's a Instagrammer, Andreas Tonelli. He does all kinds of crazy stuff, and he actually died a couple days ago. And it's just like, it's crazy. And you know what? Are we going to think about him next week? His family will definitely think about him forever and ever. Right. But all of us that consumed his content, that loved his content, it's dust in the wind. I am just dust in the wind to these people, you know, like whether I die or close Everstoke or whatever, but it still affects you. It's like crazy that it's like they'll never think of me again at all, and I'm still wrapped up in it. It's like such the brutal thing of the negativity and how you would say something to someone's face. I'm sure there's plenty of great arguments of, you know, I don't like it because of this, but you would never say it that way unless you were saying it to someone's face. Even if you were a little excited and a little negative, you could still have a face-to-face conversation that would maybe, like, you could meet both ways and be like, yeah, I respect that, but I still couldn't plead my case. It's just boom, full on negative, full thing, and just, brutal.
Yeah, there's a heaviness to all of it. It was so interesting. I do want to pivot slightly here. I wanted to ask you, and this is an incredibly broad general question, but because of who you are and kind of your standing in the mountain bike industry, I wanted to ask you about the way things have been shifting from a brand perspective, from, you know, all of these struggles that we've seen from so many different bike companies, to the way content creators have had to shift how they do things. I don't have a very specific question about this. I just kind of want to get your thoughts on the way things have kind of shifted over the past few years.
Totally. It's this crazy boom bust, you know, and it's on the way up, like 2016, like it was such a perfect time where YouTube is exploding and people are finally like watching YouTube on their TV and stuff, and that appointment, like, oh, you get the notification. So like 2016 to that wave all the way to 2020 where it was just unreal with the you couldn't find a mountain bike. It's like you're looking for bikes and you're paying twice as much or something. It's just that huge boom. And then the bust, like it's happened where it's kind of gone down, probably even below. Like if you look at search trends and stuff, it kind of has gone below where it was even before the boom, which is crazy. But I always say this, and it also probably sounds non-PC and everything, where it's like, how can we get more people into mountain biking? How can we do this? And like, how can we get more people into Ferrari racing? It's just a very high level, expensive sport. You need the economy to be great. You need people to be like feeling good about their jobs, feeling good about their future. It's like totally independent political thing that we'll never solve. That's how you get people into sailing, into like diversity, and more people coming just comes from everyone being more rich and being able to buy an $8,000 bike. You don't have to buy an $8,000 bike if you want to get into mountain biking. There are cheaper options, but all the gear and the travel and the this and that, it's such a high bar that like it always feels the same to me as expensive off-roading or Ferrari racing, and it's like it just comes down to money and time. You need a ton of time to break into this new sport and do all this stuff that's pretty intense.
I follow a guy on YouTube called Matty Active. I don't know and he was kind of explaining this really well, where he's like, look, it's not just about spending the money on the bike and the helmet and all this stuff. It's like most people, if I want to go ride, I have to drive half an hour, 40 minutes to get to some good trails. And that's not really sustainable for a lot of people who have jobs, who have kids, who have, other obligations. They can't always just go out and do that.
And imagine starting out as a beginner.
Right.
And having to struggle for a couple years and like maybe not even liking mountain biking, and then finally snapping in where you're like, whoa, I kind of get it. It's like the bar is so tough. You can get in your Ferrari the first day and like drive it around and maybe have a fun time. But sorry to cut you off.
No.
But like that, it's so many pieces of the puzzle for it to actually, you still be mountain biking 5 years later, 3 years later. It's huge. It's so tough.
Yeah. Absolutely. Before I let you go, before we wrap things up, I do need to ask, we have something in common, both Chico State graduates from the School of Journalism.
Yeah.
Do you have any fond memories, any experiences that stick out to you from your time in Chico?
Tons of fond memories. Like that was such a happenstance thing. Like I didn't really know what I was going to do. Like I went to community college, but my brother went to Chico State from being a freshman. So I was at community college for like 3 years. I like the news. Like 9/11 kind of happened. I love the news. I'm like, okay, journalism just seems really cool. I love this idea of the news and like being on top of stuff. So I'm like, all right, I'll do journalism. It was just kind of a thing. And then I took my like journalism 60 class, which is like 101. I don't know if they've changed it since then, but journalism 60 was the intro, and had this really cool professor named Kurt Nordstrom, who has since passed away. But he was like, okay, you're like, by taking my little sample writings, he like grabbed me by the hand and took me into our Orion advisor's office, Dave Waddell, and he's like, you have to put this guy on the Orion. And it was like such a high compliment and like changed my life, like from that moment to be on the Orion. And then you realize in college, it's all about the extracurricular activities and the degree. Everybody's got the degree, but to actually have the experience and working on the newspaper was my life, 100%. I was there all day, every day, spent so much time. I actually did like photography, I did writing, editing, and you get to do all this stuff. I thought I was gonna do photography as a job, but I actually ended up, after that, doing that whole thing. I took like, long rambly story, but I actually got into like web stuff and doing web producer stuff, and actually got hired at the Napa Valley Register, which was awesome. Like months after graduating, like they took a risk on me, and then I was there for like 7 years and doing that stuff, and then to pots and pans to YouTube.
Such a really fascinating career trajectory.
Totally.
I wanted to ask you just the last couple of things here. I wanted to take a moment to kind of reflect on your journey, and I think wild's a pretty apt way to describe it. I think incredible is another way to describe it. What's been the most rewarding part of this entire experience for you?
Man, so after college, it was like 10 years of working as a normal stiff. Like I started my YouTube channel at like 34 years old. I'm 43 now. Like, so I have that constant gratitude of working at a job where it was okay, but it didn't make any impact on anyone. Like I was doing these like pots and pans on a website that no one looked at. And it's like, what am I doing? What are you doing with your life? That existential kind of crisis of like, the pay was pretty garbage too, but like you go to an air-conditioned office, you sit at a computer, a lot of nice people at work, which is great. But that whole idea that like, anytime you complain about, YouTube and all this stuff, it's like, no, man, like I did 10 years working as a regular person. I can set my schedule now and just do what I want. It's like, that is wealth. Like whatever my numbers on paper are, negative 750,000, like I said, but like, that just compares nothing to like freedom of time and like being able to do what I want. Like that's the true wealth for sure. And so much gratitude for that.
Yeah. And I just think about everything you've been able to experience, everything this journey has kind of added to your life. I mean, it's I guess the thing I'm circling around is it's goes back to what we were talking about. It's a very simple concept. Go find a trail, record it, have a discussion as you're riding it, and it's blossomed into something that's been such a profound thing for you. I don't know. It seems like a really incredible journey.
It is. It's hard to wrap your head around. 'Cause, like I always loved Conan O'Brien when I was a kid, and you know, David Letterman, and that's a simple concept too. You bring on some celebrity to talk to, but every day you've got to do something to make some new jokes and what's happening and timely, and it's like such a simple concept that turns into these crazy funny memories and stuff. And yeah, just having that kind of ride, repeat, record concept that people still like it. It's like I'll still have decent videos go decently. I'm like, man, this is awesome that people still show up and enjoy it and hopefully go out and ride. That's like my number one thing is like the small 1% of people that watch the video that will actually go ride that trail, and that's the best. Yeah. And you know, the community you've built over time has been pretty fantastic too. I wanted to ask you, just kind of to wrap up here, what's next? I mean, what's on the horizon? Can you share about where you kind of want to take things, where you see the trajectory going from here? Yeah, that's something I'm always thinking about. And for now, it's all about the bathrooms, finishing these bathrooms at Everstoke. I don't think I gave you the tour yet, but just it's just all rough electrical and plumbing and all that stuff. So finishing that is like, oh, that's next. That's the huge milestone. I can barely think outside of that. But I will be doing some like road trip stuff for sure. I got to get back to Moab because Sarah hasn't ever really done it. Really? Like we did Captain Ahab, we did Pipe Dream, but she hasn't done Whole Enchilada. She hasn't done Slick Rock. Probably not going to do Portal. Probably can't handle the exposure, but like Moab just so good to go back and do those videos again and revisit the things again is like so great about my channel. It's like I did it 9 years ago, but I can go back and it's fresh again today. So yeah, no big international trips at the moment. It's just super focused on making Everstoke the best it can be. Yeah, that's awesome. I showed my wife. My wife is a very beginner mountain biker at this point, where we're still getting her confidence on the greens and all that, but she's having a lot of fun with it. I showed her Portal, and she goes, "Why would anyone ever do that?" I'm like, well, you know, some people have that drive. Yeah, it's when you're there, it's not as crazy as it seems. That GoPro effect, it's the one time the GoPro effect actually helps you versus hurts you. Every other time, I've been on some crazy steep trails that if you saw it in real life, you would crap your pants. Yeah. But Portal, just because of the way the GoPro is, it's like, oh my God, it's a great trail. I do want to ride that trail again because it's actually better than it seems. Like it actually is one of the best trails of all time, riding wise, not just the weird freak out stuff. Like getting up to it, it's Gold Bar Rim single track is all these crazy tough technical challenges, and then you get to that, and then it's like you actually, it's actually better than you think it would be versus this novelty, like, oh, people have died kind of thing. It lives up to the hype. Yeah. I do have one last question, and this is really a personal question more than anything. Do you ever get tired of getting on the bike, of throwing the leg over the saddle? It's so tied to everything you do. Are there days where it's like, man, I really don't want to go ride today? It's crazy to say, but no. There's definitely on those big trips, like the big crazy trips where you're like, oh my God, I could sleep another hour or 2 hours, and I'm offloading the footage and sometimes even editing on the trip just to kind of get ahead of it. Not always, because when you're on those trips, you just want any hour you can to just do nothing. But like, I think about that a lot, is like once I get in and once I'm there and you go, it's awesome. And it's like, there's such a good positive feedback loop of like, nope, I'm going out, I'm riding something new. The riding something new novelty, or, oh, I know this trail's really good, I'm gonna do it again, I'm gonna show it off, that like some way, somehow that hasn't crept in of like, you know, you just feel like eventually it's gonna happen, but I've been able to fight it off. Even if you start to feel it a little bit, I can fight it off and be like, because I know the second I start climbing, I start recording, I start going down a trail, I'm like, oh, this is it, this is it, this is what it's all about. And I get so hyped up. It's totally genuine about going down a great trail. And it's like, it still gives me that fantastic high that I can share and is actually somehow transmitted through the video. That's awesome to hear. I'm glad you're not just gritting your teeth through the entire thing. Gotta do it. Well, Brian, thank you so much. This has been fantastic. I really enjoyed getting to talk to you. Is there anything else you wanted to add? Anything you want to touch on? No, I mean, that's the number one thing I want everyone to do. If you've seen a great trail in my videos, somehow get out there. Get out there and do it. Life's too short. Something could always happen. If you have the means, if you have the time, you've got that bucket list, get out there. Do one of them. Do one of the bucket list trails and go experience it, because it's a pretty amazing thing. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, Brian, thanks so much.